These are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. It's going good with everything, it's going good with everything. Gotta know that because these are good days. Everything is going good with everything, 'cause these are good days. Good days. Good days.
Welcome to These Are Good Days with Leanne Miller.
And Matt Barris. I don't know why I did that.
Well, Matt, I'm craving cigarettes. It's been happening. Yes, it's been happening. We had to come back on. We had to click off for a
I
second.
turned it off because I said, you really... First of all, I'm crying. I'm laughing. 'Cause that came out of left field.
It's just true. It's just true. I mean, sometimes you crave things that aren't good for you.
Never in my life.
Listen, and you know what? Cured it. Okay, listen. Let's back up. Let me just.
I might
tell-
need a little
let
more
me-
context around
You
this.
were like, you literally cut us off, and you're
I
like, no,
stopped the
no,
recording.
no. I'm like, he's like, are you sure you want to say that? I'm like, yes, I am. Okay, I have this great group of friends called Breakfast Club. We get together about once every 6 to 8 weeks, and we really just have such a good time. We are true, real, authentic selves. and our friend Wilma, who we love so much, both of us had, we were a little wild back in the day. And one thing I say about Wilma that is the absolute truth is I can say anything to Wilma. I can
Yeah,
be
totally.
anyone to Wilma. I can tell Wilma, and we have lots of friends like this, Matt. We're so fortunate.
Mhm.
I could tell Wilma the worst thing about me, and she would say, let's talk about this.
Right.
And she wouldn't make me feel less loved or less accepted.
Totally.
And so I was telling her that I wanted a cigarette. And we were
that.
in the car together on our way somewhere, and she's like, well, the best thing to do for that is just pull over, buy a pack, and have one. And I'm like, okay. And so your mouth is listen,
I can't believe you
just-
didn't tell me
it's
this
kind of-
before.
it's kind of like it's kind of like when you crave, I don't know, like let's just think
Chocolate?
yeah, kind of like that. And I was like, I haven't had one for years, and it just sounds so good to me. And so I bought a pack of Marlboro Lights,
What?
and I made sure I was in a town where nobody'd see me if I bought them.
But now you're putting it on a
okay
podcast.
because listen, here's another thing. I am free enough in my life with God's perception of me, my husband's perception of me, your perception of me, and even really our podcast perception of me.
That's fair.
That if I've been craving a cigarette and I smoke a cigarette, I'm not going to hell.
No.
Should I do it all the time? No. Is it not good for me? It's not good for me.
Yeah.
I know it gives a warning on the package.
I just can't believe you never told me before we started recording this.
Well, I wanted your true.
How did you sit on this?
I just wanted your true. I wanted your true authentic
Well, you got
response.
it, but I turned the podcast off because I was like, "There's no way we're keeping
And
this."
so I sat on Missy Herrera, Junk Babe, also very loving, accepting person. Sat on her front porch and I smoked a cigarette, and
Still can't believe.
and I was surprised I still knew how. And the truth
Do
is,
you lose it?
The truth is, I do know how, but when you haven't had a cigarette for a long time, first of all, the taste is like, you're like, oh, I don't think I remembered this, and also it kind of gives you, the nicotine gives you a little, it makes you a little buzzy, like it just makes you go zzz,
That's interesting.
and so that's it. And I
Is
just
that your good day?
That's also my good day, because here's the thing. I was raised very conservative.
Yeah.
I had to sneak and hide and
Yeah.
do all that stuff. And, in my life now, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And I just feel like I wanted a cigarette. I wasn't
How many did you have?
One.
What did you do with the rest?
I hid the pack in case I wanted to.
Oh, you hid it. Okay. Okay, so some old habits die hard. You hid it. That is
In
hilarious.
case I wanted another one day. But I honestly, I'll probably pitch the pack, but I still
until
do have
next
it.
year.
I still have it hidden. Yeah, but then they'll be stale, and I'll need to buy another pack.
Do cigarettes get stale?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they do.
That's
Why would you know that?
I wouldn't know
Smoker.
that. Well, mine is very different. my good day is very different than
This literally went down exactly how I imagined it in my mind.
So recently, my family we had some errands.
And you smoked cigarettes together.
No, we didn't. We had some errands to run in the big old city of Canton, and we just bebopped. We went early in the afternoon. Mallory likes to make us shirts for Disney, and so we got some Disney decals, and then she brought them home and made shirts. We ran to like Old Navy and got the kids shorts. Just all the little errands.
I love
and
that.
Something I love about my children. I told them this when it was happening, and I will tell it till the day that I die, is my kids are so fun in regards to they are so easy to please. So we're driving around Canton, and we're like, hey, it's about dinner time. We should think about getting dinner. And we named a bunch of places. And they're
I
like,
can't wait to
you know
hear."
where we want to go? And I was like, where? And they were like, Olive Garden.
Oh my
and
gosh,
I was
I love-
like, what?
Olive Garden, if you are
listening.
listening.
My kids thought they were in the fanciest restaurant. They love Olive Garden. You know what it was? It was during COVID. They had ads on Hulu, and my kids saw like the endless breadsticks,
Oh,
endless
yeah,
salad,
yeah.
all of those commercials. And now my kids, it's so funny because we never go to Olive Garden, maybe once or twice a year, if that. And they thought it was so cool. So we got the salad.
Oh, it's so
we got, where they grade the cheese on and the
Yes,
breadsticks.
yes.
And our kids they're so easy to please in
They
that
are.
way. They
And-
thought that was like the best thing ever.
And listen, if we remember when this podcast airs, we need to post our Olive Garden dupe.
Oh, we have a really good Olive Garden salad recipe.
Hack. Yeah, it's
You
so
know,
good.
our friend Skyline Eric, he does not eat salad. It is a rule. It's part of his religion, I think. He loves the Olive Garden hack salad.
Yeah, it's so good. It's just so good.
It's a good one. It's
And
from one of our
also-
favorite cookbooks.
Yes, it
the
is.
Maranatha.
Yeah. Also, I will say this: somebody that works at the Canton Olive Garden told me once that particular Olive Garden is one of the busiest in the country.
Really?
Yeah.
Canton, Ohio.
Yeah. Now listen, they could be full of it,
Right.
but they did tell me, and you have to say every time you go there, it's busy.
It is. It was
It's
busy.
so
It was
busy.
busy. I think it was a Tuesday night
Yeah.
when we went.
It's so busy. Yeah.
I agree.
Mhm.
Hey, well, today we want to talk about who. We want to talk about bettering ourselves,
Becoming a better person.
how to kick bad habits.
Well, listen, it's kind of, I knew we were going to be talking about this, and it's kind of why I picked that. And it's kind of why I said it. Because here's the thing. One cigarette is
Right.
not going to make me a bad person. It's not going to kill me. It's not going to send me to hell.
No.
If I start smoking cigarettes on the regular, where you see me around town in the bug with my arm out the window with my cigarette hanging.
I mean, if you're smoking, I want you to have like a long filter, like Cruella DeVille. I'd love
okay.
to see that.
Oh, well, I don't even know where you buy anything like
Me
that.
either.
I think it's like a holder.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a filter. I think that it's the actual
a holder?
for the. Yeah. Well, if I would have known about a holder, maybe. Yes, I think that that is why I told the story, because obviously, it's the same with anything.
Oh,
like
it's with anything.
if you love McDonald's Big Macs, you should not eat one every day.
Right. Exactly. It's
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, but let me just tell you, I felt real cool with that cigarette, and I will say I did enjoy it.
Well, good.
But I'm not going to start smoking.
Yeah. Yeah. So we want to talk about ways we are bettering ourselves.
You're
I'm
still
not ready. I'm still not here yet. You threw whatever you wanted to accomplish, you won, because my brain is still not wrapped around it. So we wanted to talk about who are we becoming and what are we doing to make ourselves better. And this was really your brainchild and what you've been thinking. So can you kick me off a little bit and give me a little more backstory before we jump in?
Well, I just think, this is at any age, but I think truly once you're over 40, and I would say certainly once you're over 50, it's very easy to just kind of sit back and not think of ways you want to keep becoming a better person. And not long ago, I was asked to speak to a senior class at their. They had like an award ceremony, where
It's like
they
a
give,
baccalaureate kind of thing.
They give like they honor the National Honor Society people.
Okay.
They give out awards. They give
Yeah.
scholarships, that kind of thing. And that was basically what I talked about, is that when you're younger, when you're in your late teens and early 20s, you sometimes can obsess with what you're going to be. Like
Right.
what you're going to be. When I really think we don't talk enough about who we're becoming.
Ooh,
No
that's
matter,
a good word.
no matter what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that we're still becoming someone in our 60s. And I think just to say, well, that's just how that person is. Or, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. All that stuff, I don't believe it.
I don't either.
And I think that you can do new things. You can recreate who you are. You can go back to school in your 50s or 60s. And you can keep becoming, and you can become even a better person.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Research on the brain shows us that our brains it's called neuroplasticity. So neuroplasticity is the ability for your brain to rewire itself. And truthfully, I'm not pulling this from a specific study. This is just what I remember of things that I've read. But I think from what I remember and what I've read is that neuroplasticity, it obviously is easier the younger you are, but really the detriment is when we stop changing our brain and we stop becoming someone new, or we stop learning new things. That's when like warning signs should go off.
Yeah.
Whether you're 50 or 80, there are 80-year-olds. Truthfully, as a young person, I was like, what's up with the Sudokus? What's up with the crossword? Well, I get it now.
Right.
Because it keeps your mind active.
Right.
And it keeps your brain growing and moving in different ways.
Yeah. And why do you think you hear so many stories of people when they retire, like all of a sudden they're like not doing well.
Right.
They're depressed.
Right.
They're injured. They're ill.
They're ill, yeah.
It's because you remove those things that were causing
keeping you active. Yeah,
and
that's right.
forward motion. I think what we choose to do, it could be smoking cigarettes, or it could be
Eating a Big Mac.
What we choose to do on the daily basis to move us forward and becoming a better person is very, very important.
Totally.
I would say if you're in struggle, if you choose just to stay in struggle and talk with everybody out around you about that struggle and never do anything to move yourself out of the struggle. Now, I'm not talking about just talking to the people around you. I'm talking about things that strategically move you out of that place. You will stay in that place.
Yeah.
So we're always becoming. We're either becoming the same, or becoming someone that is maybe not great to be around, maybe not life-giving to be around, or we are becoming a better and better and better person.
You know what? I think the tricky thing for some of this is it takes little intentional things over time to see the change.
100%.
Good and bad. It's positive and negative. But I think that's the struggle, because I know, think about saving money. When you save money, you don't just save one paycheck and you're like, oh my word, all of our financial troubles are gone.
Right.
Or you don't exercise one time and you're like, oh, I'm healthy now. I think it's those little tiny things that we do on a regular basis that add up to that cumulative change where we look back and we go, whoa, I made a big change in my life.
Right.
And so I think that's where the
Right.
struggle comes
Right.
for me.
Right.
And I think that's probably a common struggle is, it's little incremental changes over time that sometimes we can get weary in doing those, and we quit, and then we're like, oh, I don't see progress, but it's those little shifts over
good.
time. So, you're 55. So what are some things that you are doing right now to better yourself? Maybe it's big things, or maybe it's incremental things that you're saying, hey, over time, I'm doing these things just to keep growing and to keep becoming better.
Okay. I bought a new illustrated NLT study Bible.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
friend Darla had that at
Yeah,
her.
yep, at her house. And I bought that because I was noticing that I really wasn't taking out my Bible, my
Yeah.
NIV. I have an NIV Women's Study Bible. I've had it
I
for
remember
years. I
that
love
Bible.
it. It's got Teddy and Joey taped on the front of it. And I just hadn't been real excited or real keyed in. Obviously, I smoked a cigarette, but no, I hadn't been real keyed in.
Well, that was your backsliding.
Yeah, that was the beginning. But I hadn't been really keyed in to reading my Bible, and that NLT Illustrated Study Bible, I absolutely love it. Yes, it has pictures, and it gives you like what's going on in the time period when
I probably need that.
it is so good, and it's such a good reminder of just these stories that we have learned over time. If you're in the faith structure, the Christian faith structure, these stories in the Bible, and it just has reminded me of some things that, I really had forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing. Another thing is,
Can I ask you a
yes,
follow-up question
yes.
though? What do you notice about yourself when you do or don't do that? Like, what do you notice? What are the outcomes that you notice? Is it just like, oh, I'm glad I did that?
Yeah.
Or do you feel a difference? Do you
Oh.
know, what do you notice?
Okay. Well, that's a good question, because what comes along with that are the things out around when I do that.
Mm,
So if I'm in a hurry, if it's a TV morning, that's not happening.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting up early, I'm getting in the shower, I'm getting ready, I'm going to TV.
right.
So on mornings like this morning, I have time. I have time. I have made time in the morning for my frothy coffee, for my reading, and also for the next thing I'm getting ready to say. So, but to answer your question, sometimes no. Sometimes I don't feel a big, huge difference just because I reread, when Joshua led the battle of Jericho,
right.
But where it does help me, and what I do find, is encouragement.
Mhm.
And I also believe that the Bible, I mean, this is just my faith structure. You don't have to believe this with me, but I believe that the Bible is alive and active and full of power.
Yeah.
So when I choose to get out my Bible and open it up, I'm choosing to engage in something that I believe is still relevant and
Mhm.
active and God's word.
Yeah.
So it does make me feel better many days, or it does make me feel grounded many days.
That's good.
The other thing I've been doing is I was always, and when you lived with us, this, I was always good at journaling.
Mhm.
I journaled. I journaled really on a daily basis, even if it was just journaling my feelings, or I would
Yeah.
just journal. And I have gotten out of the habit of that. So I have bought 3 journals, not just one. I bought 3. I bought 3 journals because I'm like, I need to take up this practice again, because
Mhm.
I remember how it filled my life.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I'm doing is I have a list going of prayer requests from my friends
Mhm.
that I'm I'm praying specifics for. And I do think that does make a difference,
Totally.
because I'm being intentional, and I, when I'm journaling, I am sure to list the things that I am grateful for. And listen, people say this to me often, is like, you're happy all the time, you're positive all the time, you're encouraging all the time. no, that's not how I'm feeling all the time.
Right. Right.
I'm not. There are days
That's
that are
true.
hard.
That's true.
And but I'm making the choice to say, you know what, this day has been hard. This day has actually kind of sucked. But I'm choosing to say, I have gas in my car. The sun is shining. I have wonderful friends. I'm going to call one of those wonderful friends and say I'm struggling. You know, there are choices out there that you can make to either be in it and grumbling or in it and trying to maintain that positivity. Sometimes it's hard to do
Totally.
that. I mean, sometimes your situations might be so hard that you cannot see the positive, but I do think it's important to write some gratitudes and write some positive down.
Did you know this? Right now in America, 14% of Americans would say that they practice a form of mindfulness. Often in Christian structures, or maybe more of like a faith word for that would be meditation, like meditating on God's word.
Or quiet time.
I have a hard time with quiet time.
I know.
I don't love quiet time because what if I don't want to be quiet?
Often I'm not, actually.
But 14% of Americans are practicing some type of this mindfulness, like reframing your mind using scripture or, what is it? Like gratitude sayings.
Yeah, like kind of affirmations.
Affirmations. That's the word I was looking for. And there's a connection to that. You know, they say that it reduces your stress, your anxiety.
Oh, you live longer. Some research says you live a longer
Yeah.
life if you practice gratitude.
It helps your concentration and your short-term and long-term memory.
Dr. Amen, do you follow him on Instagram? Dr. Amen, and it's Dr. and that's Amen. He was talking the other day and I was like, oh, that's so good. And he says that when you wake up in the morning, even if you wake up in the morning and it's a hard day, it's going to be hard. You say, today is going to be a great day. You say it out loud.
Yeah.
You say, today's going to be a great day. And you start speaking gratitudes and start speaking positivity, because he is a brain doctor and he says your brain listens to what you are saying.
Ooh, that's good.
And so if you're saying like, this is awful, this is hard, this is catastrophic, this is terrible, I feel horrible, how can it get any worse? Your brain is listening to all of that. So if you can make the switch, even if you're not feeling it, if you can make the switch of today's going to be great, there are going to be great things folded into my day, I'm going to be looking for great things. He says that your brain is completely paying attention to that.
Totally. One of the things on my list for becoming a better person is positive self-talk. Is how do I talk to myself? How do I treat myself? Not like treat yourself, but how do I, I tease my wife actually doesn't love this, but sometimes my humor can be self-deprecating and she's like, stop. I don't like that, because I think,
that's good. I think
even
that's
though we
true.
know it's a joke, sometimes it's really not great to say negative
well,
things about yourself.
I also think it's kind of feeding the insecurity.
Totally.
It's feeding the thing that you might feel self-conscious about. You're feeding it not in a positive way.
Right.
And so like if I say I'm curvy, it's different than saying I'm chubby.
Right. Right.
And I have learned just probably in this last 5 years, I am curvy, I am fluffy, and it's a part of me that is me. Like
Right.
I literally, to be any different, I would have
wouldn't
to
be you.
Well, and I'd have to just eat lettuce with no dressing. I mean, I would just have to barely eat anything. And I just don't have the genetics for this lithe, thin,
Right.
115 or 20 pound body. I
Right.
just don't. And it's okay. And so you're right. I think self-deprecating humor it's a slippery slope.
Okay, what's another one on your list of how we're bettering ourselves?
Well, I would say, words are part of this. Like our words, how we use our words is part of this. But kindness to others. I think when we are kind to other people, we are becoming better ourselves when we show kindness. And sometimes when we show kindness to people that don't deserve it, that really can, I think, improve who we are, because we have a better understanding of that person. Now, do I think you need to be kind and reward bad behavior? No, that's not what I'm talking about. But I think kindness to others is a big way to become a better person?
Yeah. For me, another way to become a better person is learning new things. For me, I
yeah, that's
think
good.
we hit a threshold. Maybe it's when we're done with college, where we just stop learning new things. And I think it's important. My wife teases me so much because I read on the internet about the most random stuff. For example, we'll be watching a show and this is a true story. The song came on, you're no good, you're no good, you're no good, baby, you're no good. And I looked up that song. Right. So I looked up that song. Shoot, of course I can't remember her name. Linda Ronstadt is the lady that sings it. Didn't know Linda Ronstadt. So I read an article about Linda Ronstadt. And then I'm like, Linda Ronstadt didn't do a whole lot in her life. Oh, Linda Ronstadt has multiple sclerosis, I think, or Parkinson's, one of those two.
Oh, wow.
And it affected her vocal cords. Oh, Linda Ronstadt stopped singing. And then I go on CBS. One of my favorite shows, this is so funny. One of my favorite shows is CBS Sunday Mornings. CBS Sunday Mornings, if you are listening, you're one of my favorite shows because they give these little slice of life thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think for me, keeping my mind active
Yes.
and learning new
Yes.
things. Maybe it's learning
About
stories.
other people, even other
Yes.
people's stories.
Learning about other stories. We've talked about the embroidery hobby that I picked up about 2 years ago. But learning new things, whatever that is. There's someone I work with that listens to the podcast. She actually started a business making blankets on the side. She does crocheted blankets. And doing things like that with our hands, learning new skills, always growing in some way. I think
so
that
good.
just keeps our mind active.
that's so good.
Maybe that's accomplishing new things in the kitchen. I know you love cooking and just trying new stuff.
Yes.
Anything like that keeps our mind going in new and different ways,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
helps us become a better person.
That's good. I also think I read this somewhere online, and I think it's good about becoming a better person. It's leveraging your strengths. I think that sometimes we find ourselves in jobs and situations where we just need to do that because we need to make a way. We need to make the paycheck. We need to make a way. And
Totally.
we shelve or we kind of put in the closet some of our strengths and some of the things that we're gifted at. And a good example is the lady you're talking about, like making crocheting the blankets on the side. She's leveraging a strength she has. Now, she does a full-time job of teaching, but she's also not she's not dismissing a talent and a strength that she has. So I think to remind yourself the things that you're good at and the things that you have strengths in or giftings in. And if you haven't been utilizing those, just whip out that paintbrush and start doing those things.
Here's another one. This is my last one. And then I want to hear one more from you, but here's my last one is becoming a better person for me means surrounding myself with really good people.
So
the
important.
older that I get, the more particular I am about how I spend my time and really who I spend my time with. And I think for me, becoming a better person is all about surrounding yourself with people
so
that
good.
maybe people you want to be like, maybe people you want to learn from, people that encourage you, people that have similar, not that we are in an echo chamber, like we're all the same, but people that have a similar value system as us.
Well, it's people that are encouraging you to become better.
100%.
It's people that are building life and encouragement and into you, and maybe there are some people in your life, and we have both had this experience in our lifetime. For myself over the last 10 years, maybe there are some people in your life that need to take a back. You need to get in a different vehicle.
Right.
You need to say, listen, I'm not, this isn't going to be part of my everyday. This person's not going to be in my inner circle anymore because they're just not, I'm not becoming a better person when I'm with them.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think prioritizing the people in our life is huge for me.
Good. Yeah.
Andy Stanley, I think you've said this on the podcast before, but he says, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. Ooh, that's harrowing. So, all right, give us one more.
And also another popular one that I used to say that he says is your friends determine the quality and the direction of your life.
That's right.
And it's true.
It's so true.
The last one, and we'll end with this one, is and this has come to me really more in my 50s. And I think some of it is just natural because I was raising children, running a business and running around, just busy, is to take care of yourself. Just to take care of yourself. Get sleep. Do yourself a little frothy coffee, even if it's on the weekends. Maybe you can't do it every morning. But practice some kindness and some care for yourself. Because I think sometimes we look over that. And I think to become a better person, and listen, let me tell you something. If you're raising children, those children are watching how you're caring for yourself.
It's true.
And so to take care of yourself, I think is very important. Eat real food. Don't smoke cigarettes. Eat real food. Get around the table with good people.
Yeah.
And just really take care of yourself. Don't ignore that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's talk about food.
Okay. Daryl recently went on a fishing trip. Joey got to go along with him, which is fantastic.
I love
that they got to go together. Teddy, on the other hand, was in Bosnia.
Right. As one is.
Yes. He was there for work. He's a geologist, and they are reopening a mine in Bosnia, and he was part of that project. So he went to Bosnia for a week and said it was actually a very beautiful country. Interesting. And so they went on this fishing trip, and they never leave and go on that fishing trip without all the favorite breading.
Yeah.
And some of that breading is from Walnut Creek Cheese and Market, Walnut Creek Foods. You can buy the Runyons on walnutcreekfoods.com or walnutcreekcheese.com. Actually, it's on walnutcreekcheese.com. Runyons is an all-purpose seasoned coating mix. You can put it on fish. You can put it on chicken. You can dredge your chuck roast in Runyons and just sear it for your pot roast. Beef stew meat, you can roll around in that Runyons. And it honestly is truly a wonderful, wonderful breading. I love the bulk breading that they have there. They also have something called, it's either Emma Yoder or Irma Yoder. I can never get it right. Chicken coating or chicken breading that's also delicious.
Well, listen, it's the time of year for fish fries. Everybody's out fishing, so
yeah, you need a fish fry. We owe you a fish fry.
I know we're doing back orders nowadays.
Yeah, that's right. We thank Walnut Creek Foods and Walnut Creek Cheese and Market for being our official sponsor here on These Are Good Days. They're an incredible place. They're a locally owned and operated business, and they really are an incredible business. They're an incredible brand.
Yeah. Hey, well, thank you so much for joining us in this conversation about ways that we can better ourselves.
Yes.
Whether ordinary or extraordinary, we hope you see that these are good days.
This episode brought to you by Walnut Creek Foods.